And it was at that time that Abraham again took a woman in his old age, and her name was Keturah, from the land of Canaan. And she bore unto him Zimran, Yokshan, Midan, Midyan, Yishbak, and Shubach, being 6 sons. And the children of Zimran were Abihan, Molach, and Narim. And the sons of Yokshan were Sheva, Denan. And the sons of Midan were Amida, Joab, Gokshi, Elishi, and Nathach. And the sons of Midyan were Ephah, Epher, Chanok, Abiada, Eldaah. And the sons of Yishbak were Machiro, Beodu, and Tator. And the sons of Shuach were Bildad, Mimdad, Manan, Miban. And all these are the families of the children of Keturah, and the Canaanite woman which she bore unto Abraham the Every. And Abraham sent all these away, and he gave them gifts, and they went away from the sons of Yishka to dwell wherever they should find a place. And all these went to the mountains at the east, and they built themselves 6 cities, in which they dwelt unto this day. But the children of Sheba and Dedan, children of Yokshan, with their children, did not dwell with their brethren in the cities, and they journeyed and encamped in the countries and wilderness unto this day. And the children of Midian, sons of Abraham, went to the east of the land of Cush, and they were found a large valley in the east country, and they remained there and built a city, and they dwelt therein, that is, the land of Midian, unto this day. Midian dwelt in the city which he built, he and his 5 sons, and all belonging to him. And these are the names of the sons of Midian, according to their names in their cities: Ephah, Epher, Chanok, Aviada, Eladah. And the sons of Ephah were Mathach, Mesher, Avi, Tazanyu. And the sons of Epher were Ephron, Tisur, Aluran, Medin. And the sons of Chanok were Reuel, Recham, Azi, Al-Yoshuv, and Alad. And the sons of Avidah were Kori, Meldud, Kurori, Melchi. And the sons of Eldaah were Micah, Reva, and Melchiahu, and Gabol. These are the names of the Midian according to their families. And afterward the families of Midian spread throughout the land of Midian. And these are the generations of Ishmael, the son of Abraham, whom Hagar, Sarah's handmaid, bore to Abraham. And Ishmael took a woman from the land of Mitzrayim, and her name was Rivah. The name is Meribah. And Rivah bore unto Ishmael Nebaioth, Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, and their sister Basmath. And Ishmael cast away his woman Rivah, and she went from him and returned to Mitzrayim, to the house of her father, and she dwelt there, for she had been very bad in the sight of Ishmael, and in the sight of his father Abraham. And Ishmael afterward took a woman from the land of Canaan, and her name was Malchuth, and she bore unto him Nishma, Dama, Massa, Kadad, Tema, Yetur, Naphish, and Kidma. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, being 12 princes according to their nations. And the families of Ishmael afterwards spread forth. And Ishmael took his children and all the property that he had gained, together with the souls of his household, and all belonging to him, and they went to dwell where they should find a place. And they went and dwelled near the wilderness of Paran, and their dwelling was from Cavilah unto Shur. This is before Mitzrayim, as you come towards Ashur. And Ishmael and his sons, and his sons dwelt in the land, and they had children born to them, and they were fruitful and increased abundantly. And these are the names of the sons of Nebaioth, the firstborn of Yishmael, Mend, Send, Mayon, and the sons of Gadar were Elyon, Kezam, Chamad, and Elai. And the sons of Abiel were Chamad and Yavin, and the sons of Mivsham were Aviyahu, Eve, Melech, Euash. These are the families of the children of Rivah, the woman of Yishmael, and the sons of Mishma, the son of Yishmael, were Shammua, Zechariah, Oved, and the sons of Duma were Kazed, Eli, Machmed, Ahmed, and the sons of Massa were Melon, Mula, Ebedon, and the sons of Hadad were Azur, Minzar, and Eve, Melech, and the sons of Temah were Siar, Sadon, Yaakov, and the sons of Yetur were Merath, Yaish, Elyo, Haphach, and the sons of Naphish were Eve tamed, Avi Akaf, and Mir, and the sons of Quadama were Caliph, Takti, Amer. These were the children of Malkuth and the woman of Yishmael, according to their families. And all these are the families of Yishmael, according to their generations. And they dwelt in the lands wherein they had built themselves cities unto this day. And Rivkah, the daughter of Beluel, the woman of Abraham's son Yitzchak, was barren in those days and had no offspring. And Yitzchak dwelt with his father in the land of Canaan. And Yahuwah was with Yitzchak, and Arpachshad, the son of Shem, the son of Noach, died in those days, in the 48th year of the life of Yitzchak. And all the days of Arpachshad lived, there were 438 years, and he died. And in the 59th year of the life of Yitzchak, the son of Abraham, Rivkah his woman was still barren in those days. And Rivkah said unto Yitzchak, Truly, I have heard, my lord, that your mother Sarah was born in her days until the Lord Abraham was barren in those days until my lord Abraham, your father, prayed for her, and she conceived by him. Now therefore stand up, pray you also to Elohim, and he will hear your prayer and remember us through his mercies. And Yitzchak answered his woman Rivkah, saying, Abraham has already prayed for me to Elohim to multiply his seed. Now therefore his barrenness must proceed to us from you. And Rivkah said unto him, But arise now, you also, and pray, and Yahuwah may hear your prayer and grant me children. And Yitzchak hearkened to the words of his woman, and Yitzchak and his woman rose up and went to the land of Moriah to pray there and to seek Yahuwah. And when they had reached the place, Yitzchak stood up and prayed to Yahuwah on the count of his woman, because she was barren. And Yitzchak said, O Yahuwah, Elohim of heaven and earth, whose goodness and mercies fill the earth, you who did take my father from his father's house and from his birthplace, and did bring him unto his land, and I say unto him, To your seed will I give the land. And you did promise him, and did declare to him, I will multiply your seed as the stars in the heavens, and as the sand of the sea. Now may your words be verified, which you did speak unto my father. For you are Yahuwah Eloheinu. Our eyes are towards you to give us seed of men, as you did promise us. For you are Yahuwah Eloheinu, and our eyes are directed towards you only. And Yahuwah heard the prayer of Yitzchak, the son of Abraham, and Yahuwah was entreated of him, and Rivkah his woman conceived. And in about 7 months after, the children struggled together within her, and it pained her greatly that she was worried on account of them. And she said to all the women who were then in the land, Did such a thing happen to you as it has to me? And they said to her, No. And she said unto them, Why am I alone in this amongst all the women that were upon the earth? And she went to the land of Moriah to seek Yahuwah on account of this. And she went to Shem and Eber, his son, to make inquiries of them in this manner, and that they should seek Yahuwah in this thing respecting her. And she also asked Abraham to seek and inquire of Yahuwah about all that had befallen her. And they all inquired of Yahuwah concerning this matter, and they brought her word from Yahuwah and told her, 2 children are in your womb, and 2 nations shall rise from them, and one nation shall be stronger than the other, and the greater shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were completed, she knelt down, and beheld, there were twins in her womb, as Yahuwah had spoken to her. And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment. And all the people of the land called his name Esau, saying that this one was made complete from the womb. And after that came his brother, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. Therefore they called his name Yaakov. And Yitzchak, the son of Abraham, was 60 years old when he begot them. And the boys grew up after 15 years, and they came amongst the society of men. Esau was a designing and deceitful man and an expert hunter in the field, and Yaakov was a perfect and wise, dwelling in tents, feeding flocks and learning the instructions of Yahuwah and the commandments of his father and mother. And Yitzchak and the children of his household dwelt with his father Abraham in the land of Canaan, as Elohim had commanded them. And Ishmael, the son of Abraham, went with his children and all belongings to them, and they returned there to the land of Havilah, and they dwelt there. And all the children of Abraham's concubines went to dwell in the land of the east, for Abraham had sent them away from his son, and had given them presents, and they went away. And Abraham gave all that he had to his son Yitzchak, and he also gave him all his treasures. And he commanded him, saying, do you not know and understand Yahuwah is Elohim in heaven and in earth, and there is no other beside him? And it was he who took me from my father's house and from my birthplace and gave me all the delights upon the earth, who delivered me from the counsel of wicked, for in him did I trust. And he brought me to this place, and he delivered me from Kasdim. And he said to me, to your seed will I give all of these lands, and they shall inherit them when they guard my commandments, my statutes, and my judgments that I have commanded you, and which I shall command them. Now, therefore, my son, hearken to my voice, and guard the commandments of Yahuwah Eloheka, which I commanded you. Do not turn from the right way, either to the right or the left, in order that it may be well with you and your children after you forever. And remember the wonderful works of Yahuwah and his kindness that he has shown towards us in having delivered us from the hands of our enemy. And Yahuwah Eloheinu caused them to fall into our hands. And now, therefore, guard all that I have commanded you, and turn not away from the commandments of your Elohim, and serve none beside him, in order that it may be well with you and your seed after you, and teach you, your children, your seed, the instructions of Yahuwah and his commandments, and teach them the upright way in which they should go, in order that it may be well with them forever. And Yitzchak answered his father and said unto him, that which my Adonai has commanded, that will I do. And I will not depart from the commandments of Yahuwah Eloheinu, and I will guard all that commanded me. And Abraham blessed his son Yitzchak, and also his children. And Abraham taught Yaakov the instruction of Yahuwah and his ways. And it was at that time that Abraham died in the 15th year of the life of Yaakov and Esau, the son of Yitzchak. And all the days of Abraham were 175 years. And he died and was gathered to his people in a good old age, old and satisfied with days. And Yitzchak and Ishmael his sons buried him And when the inhabitants of Canaan heard that Abraham was dead, they all came with their kings and princes and all their men to bury Abraham. And all the inhabitants of the land of Haran, and all the families of the house of Abraham, and all the princes and the grandees, and the sons of Abraham by the concubines, all came when they heard of Abraham's death. And they requited Abraham's kindness and comforted Yitzchak his son. And they buried Abraham in the cave which he bought from Ephron the Hittite and his children for the possession of a burial place. And all the inhabitants of Canaan and all who had known Abraham wept for Abraham a whole year, and men and women mourned over him. And all the little children and all the inhabitants of the land wept on account of Abraham, for Abraham had been good to them all, and because he had been upright with Elohim and men. And there arose not a man who feared Elohim like Abraham, for he had feared his Elohim from his youth, and had served Yahweh, and had gone in all his ways during his life, from his childhood to the days of his death. And Yahweh was with him and delivered him from the counsel of Nimrod and his people. And when he made war with the 4 kings of Elam, he conquered them, and he brought all the children of the earth to serve Elohim. And he taught them the ways of Yahweh, and caused them to know Yahweh. And he formed a grove, and he planted a vineyard therein. And he had always prepared in his tent meat and drink to those that passed through the land, that they might satisfy themselves in his house. And Yahweh Elohim delivered the whole earth on account of Abraham. And it was after the death of Abraham that Elohim blessed his son Yitzchak and his children, and Yahweh was with Yitzchak as he had been with his father Abraham. For Yitzchak kept all the commandments of Yahweh as Abraham his father had commanded him. He did not turn to the right or to the left from the right path, which his father had commanded him. And Esau at that time, after the death of Abraham, frequently went to the field to hunt. And Nimrod, king of Babel, the same was Amraphel, also frequently went with his mighty men to hunt in the field, and to walk about with his men in the cool of the days. And Nimrod was observing Esau all those days, for a jealousy was formed in the heart of Nimrod against Esau all the days. And on a certain day Esau went in the field to hunt, and he found Nimrod walking in the wilderness with his 2 men. And all his mighty men and his people were with him in the wilderness, but they removed at a distance from him, and they went from him in different directions to hunt. And Esau concealed himself for Nimrod, and he lurked for him in the wilderness. And Nimrod and his men that were with him did not know him. And Nimrod and his men frequently walked about in the field at the cool of the day, and to know where his men were hunting in the field. And Nimrod and 2 of his men that were with him came to the place where they were, when Esau started suddenly from his lurking place, and drew his sword, and hastened and ran to Nimrod, and cut off his head. And Esau fought a desperate fight with the 2 men that were with Nimrod. And when they called out to him, Esau turned to them and smote them to death with his sword. And all the mighty men of Nimrod, who had left him to go to the wilderness, heard the cry at a distance, and they knew the voices of those 2 men, and they ran to know the cause of it. And when they found their king and the 2 men that were with him laying dead in the wilderness, and when Esau saw the mighty men of Nimrod coming at a distance, he fled and thereby escaped. And Esau took the valuable garments of Nimrod, which Nimrod's father had bequeathed to Nimrod, and with which Nimrod prevailed over the whole land, and he ran and concealed them in his house. And Esau took those garments and ran into the city on account of Nimrod's men. And he came into his father's house, wearied and exhausted from fight. And he was ready to die through grief when he approached his brother Yaakov and sat before him. And he said unto his brother Yaakov, Behold, I shall die this day. And wherefore? When do I want the birthright? And Yaakov acted wisely with Esau in this matter. And Esau sold his birthright to Yaakov, for it was so brought about by Yahuwah. And Esau's portion in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham had bought from the children of Heth for the possession of the burial ground, Esau also sold to Yaakov, and Yaakov bought all this from his brother Esau for value given. And Yaakov wrote the whole of this in a cipher, and he testified the same with witness. And he sealed it, and the cipher remained in the hands of Yaakov. And when Nimrod, the son of Cush, died, his men lifted him up and brought him in consternation and buried him in his city. And all the days that Nimrod lived were 250 years, and he died. 15 years, and he died. And the days that Nimrod reigned upon the people of the land were 185 years. And Nimrod died by the sword of Esau in shame and contempt. And the seed of Abraham caused his death, as he had seen in his dream. And at the death of Nimrod, his kingdom became divided into many divisions. And all those parts that Nimrod reigned over were restored unto the respective kings of the land, who recovered them after the death of Nimrod. And all the people of the house of Nimrod were for a long time enslaved to all the other kings of the land. And in those days, after the death of Abraham, in the year Abraham brought a heavy famine on the land, and while the famine was raging in the land of Canaan, Yitzchak rose up to go down to Mitzrayim on account of the famine, as his father Abraham had done. And Yahuwah appeared that night to Yitzchak, and he said to him, "Do not go down to Mitzrayim, but rise and go to Gerar, to Avimelech, king of the Pelishtim, and remain there till the famine shall cease." And Yitzchak rose up and went to Gerar, as Yahuwah commanded him, and he remained there a full year. And when Yitzchak came to Gerar, the people of the land saw that Rivkah, his woman, was of beautiful appearance. And the people of Gerar asked Yitzchak concerning this woman. And he said, "She is my sister," for he was afraid to say that she was his woman, lest the people of the land should slay him on account of her. And the princes of Abimelech went and praised the woman to the king, but he answered them not, neither did he attend their words. But he heard them say that Yitzchak declared her to be his sister. So the king reserved this within himself. And when Yitzchak had remained 3 months in the land, Abimelech looked out the window, and he saw, and behold, Yitzchak was sporting with Rivkah, his woman, for Yitzchak dwelt in the outer house belonging to the king, so that the house of Yitzchak was opposed to the house of the king. And the king said to Yitzchak, "What is this you have done to us in saying of your woman, she is my sister? How easily might one of the great men of the people have lain with her, and you would have brought guilt upon us?" And Yitzchak said unto Abimelech, "Because I was afraid lest I die on account of my woman. Therefore I said, she is my sister." At that time Abimelech gave orders to all his princes and great men, and they took Yitzchak and Rivkah his woman, and brought them before the king. And the king commanded that they should dress them in princely garments, and make them ride through the streets of the city, and proclaim before them throughout the land, saying, "This is the man, and this is the woman. Whosoever touches this man or his woman shall surely die." And Yitzchak returned with his woman to the house of the king, and Yahuwah was with Yitzchak, and he continued to wax great and lacking nothing. And Yahuwah caused Yitzchak to find favor in the sight of Abimelech and in the sight of all his subjects. And Abimelech acted well with Yitzchak, for Abimelech remembered the oath and the covenant that existed between his father and Abraham. And Abimelech said to Yitzchak, "Behold, the whole earth is before you. Dwell wherever it may seem good in your sight until you shall return to your land." And Avimelech gave Yitzchak fields and vineyards and the best part of the land of Gerar to sow and reap and eat the fruits of the ground until the days of the famine should have passed by. And Yitzchak sowed in that land and received 100-fold in the same year. And Yahuwah blessed him, and the man waxed great, and he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great store of servants. And when the days of the famine had passed away, Yahuwah appeared to Yitzchak, and he said unto him, Rise up, go forth from his place, and return to your land, to the land of Canaan. And Yitzchak rose up and returned to Hebron, which is in the land of Canaan, he and all belonging to him, as Yahuwah commanded him. And after this, Shelach, the son of Arpachshad, died in that year, which is the 18th year of the life of Yaakov and Esau, and all the days of Shelach lived. There were 433 years, and he died. At that time, Yitzchak sent his younger son Yaakov to the house of Shem and Eber, and he learned the instructions of Yahuwah. And Yaakov remained in the house of Shem and Eber for 32 years. And Esau, his brother, did not go, for he was not willing to go, and he remained in his father's house in the land of Canaan. And Esau was continuously hunting in the fields to bring home what he could get. So did Esau all these days. And Esau was a designing and deceitful man, one who hunted after the hearts of men and inveigled them. And Esau was a valiant man in the field, and in the course of time went as usual to hunt. And he came as far as the field of Seir, the same as Edom, and he remained in the land of Seir, hunting in the field 1 year and 4 months. And Esau there saw in the land of Seir the daughter of a man Canaan, and her name was Yehudith, the daughter of Bereir, son of Ephraim, from the families of Heth, the son of Canaan. And Esau took her for a woman, and he came to her. 40 years old was Esau when he took her, and he brought her to Hebron, the land of his father's dwelling place, and he dwelt there. And it came to pass in those days, in the 110th year of the life of Yitzchak, that is in the 50th year of the life of Yaakov. In that year died Shem, the son of Noah. Shem was 600 years old at the death, and when Shem died, Yaakov returned to his father to Hebron, which is in the land of Canaan. And in the 56th year of the life of Yaakov, people came from Haran, and Rivkah was told concerning her brother-in-law, the son of Bethuel, for the woman of Laban was barren in those days, and bore no children, and also all the handmaids bore none to him. And Yahuwah afterward remembered Adinah, the woman of Laban, and she conceived and bore twin daughters. And Laban called the names of his daughters, the name of the elder Leah, and the name of the younger Rachel. And those people came and told these things to Rivkah, and Rivkah rejoiced greatly that Yahweh had visited her brother, and that he had got children. And Yitzchak, the son of Abraham, became old and advanced in days, and his eyes became heavy through age. They were dim and could not see. At that time Yitzchak called unto Esau his son, saying, Get, I pray, you your weapons, your quiver, and your bow. Rise up and go forth into the field, and get me some venison, and make me some savory meat, and bring it to me, that I may eat, in order that I may bless you before my death, as I have now become old and gray-headed. And Esau did so, and he took his weapon, and went forth to the field to hunt for venison, as usual, to bring to his father, as he had ordered him, so that he might bless him. And Rivkah heard all the words that Yitzchak had spoken unto Esau, and she hastened and called her son Yaakov, saying, Thus your father speak to your brother Esau, and thus did I hear. Now, therefore, hasten you, and make that which I shall tell you. Rise up and go, I pray you, to the flock, and fetch me 2 fine kids of the goats, and I will get the savory meat for your father. And you shall bring the savory meat, that he may eat before your brother shall have come from the chase, in order that your father may bless you. And Yaakov hastened and did as the mother had commanded, and he made the savory meat and brought it before his father, before Esau had come from his chase. And Yitzchak said unto Yaakov, who are you, my son? And he said, I am your firstborn Esau. I have done as you did order me. Now, therefore, rise up, I pray you, and eat of my hunt, in order that your soul may bless me as you did speak unto me. And Yitzchak rose up, and he ate, and he drank, and his heart was comforted, and he blessed Yaakov. And Yaakov went away from his father, and as soon as Yitzchak had blessed Yaakov, he had gone away from him. Behold, Esau came from his hunt from the field, and he also made savory meat, and brought it to his father to eat thereof, and to bless him. And Yitzchak said to Esau, and who was he that has taken venison and brought it me before you came, and whom I did bless? And Esau knew that his brother Yaakov had done this, and the anger of Esau was kindled against his brother Yaakov, that he had acted thus towards him. And Esau said, is he not rightly called Yaakov? For he has supplanted me twice. He took away my birthright, and now he has taken away my blessing. And Esau wept greatly. And when Yitzchak heard the voice of his son, Esau weeping, Yitzchak said to Esau, what can I do, my son? Your brother came with subtlety and took away your blessing. And Esau hated his brother and Yaakov on account of the blessing that his father had given him, and his anger was greatly roused against him. And Yaakov was very much afraid of his brother Esau, and he rose up and fled to the house of Eber, the son of Shem, and he concealed himself there on account of his brother. And Yaakov was 63 years old when he went forth from the land of Canaan, from Hebron, and Yaakov was concealed in Eber's house 14 years on account of his brother Esau. And he there continued to learn the ways of Yahweh and his commandments. And when Esau saw that Yaakov had fled and escaped from him, and that Yaakov had cunningly obtained the blessing, then Esau grieved exceedingly. And he was also vexed at his father and mother. And he also rose up and took his woman and went away from his father and mother to the land of Seir, and he dwelt there. And Esau saw there a woman from amongst the daughters of Heth, whose name was Basmath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and he took her for a woman in addition to his first woman. And Esau called her name Adah, saying, the blessing had in that time passed from him. And Esau dwelt in the land of Seir 6 months, without seeing his father and mother. And afterward Esau took his woman and rose up and returned to the land of Canaan. And Esau placed his 2 women in his father's house in Hebron. And the woman of Esau vexed and provoked Yitzchak and Rivkah with their works, for they walked not in the ways of Yahweh, but served their father's Elohim of wood and stone, as their father had taught them. And they were more wicked than their father. And they went according to the evil desires of their hearts, and they sacrificed and burnt incense to Baalim. And Yitzchak and Rivkah became weary of them. And Rivkah said, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Yaakov take a woman of the daughters of Heth, such as these, which are of the daughters of the land, what good then is life to me? And in those days Adah, the woman of Esau, conceived and bore him a son. Esau called the name of that son that was born unto Eliphaz, and Esau was 65 years old when she bore him. And Ishmael, the son of Abraham, died in those days, in the 64th year of the life of Yaakov. And all the days of Ishmael lived were 137, and he died. And when Yitzchak heard that Ishmael was dead, he mourned for him, and Yitzchak lamented over him many days. And at the end of 14 years, Yaakov's residing in the house of Eber, Yaakov desired to see his father and mother, and Yaakov came to the house of his father and mother to Hebron, and Esau had in those days forgotten what Yaakov had done to him in having taken the blessing from him in those days. And when Esau saw Yaakov coming to his father and mother, he remembered what Yaakov had done to him, and he was greatly incensed against him, and he sought to slay him. And Yaakov, the son of Abraham, was old and advanced in the days, and Esau said, Now my father's time is drawing nigh, that he must die, and when he shall die, I will slay my brother Yaakov. And this was told to Rivkah, and she hastened and sent and called for Yaakov her son. And she said to him, Arise, go and flee to Haran to my brother Laban, and remain there for some time until your brother's anger be turned from you, and then shall you come back. And Yitzchak called to Yaakov and said unto him, Take not a woman from the daughters of Canaan, for thus did our father Abraham command us according to the word of Yahweh, which he had commanded him, saying, Unto your seed will I give this land. If your children guard my covenant that I have made with you, then will I also perform to your children that which I have spoken unto you, and I will not forsake them. Now, therefore, my son, hearken to my voice, to all that I command you, and refrain from taking a woman from amongst the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Haran, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take unto you a woman from there, from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. Therefore take heed, lest you should forget Yahweh Eloheka and all his ways in the land to which you go, and should get connected with the people of the land and pursue vanity and forsake Yahweh Eloheka. But then you come into the land, serve there Yahweh, do not turn to the right or to the left from the way which I commanded you, which you did learn. And may El Shaddai grant you favor in the sight of people of the earth, that you may take there a woman according to your choice, one who is good and upright in the ways of Yahuwah. And may Elohim give unto you and your seed the blessing of your father Abraham, and make you fruitful and multiply you. And may you become a multitude of people in the land whither you go. And may Elohim cause you to return to this land, the land of your father's dwelling, with children and with great riches, with joy and with pleasure. And Yitzchak finished commanding Yaakov and blessing him, and he gave him many gifts, together with silver and gold, and he sent him away. And Yaakov hearkened to his father and mother. He kissed them, and rose and went to Padan Aram. And Yaakov was 77 years old when he went out from the land of Canaan, from Be'er Sheva. And when Yaakov went away to go to Haran, Esau called unto his son Eliphaz, and secretly spoke unto him, saying, Now hasten, take your sword in your hand, and pursue Yaakov, and pass before him in the road, and lurk for him, and slay him with your sword in one of the mountains, and take all belonging to him, and come back. And Eliphaz, the son of Esau, was an active man, an expert with the bow, as his father had taught him. And he was a noted hunter in the field and a valiant man. And Eliphaz did as his father had commanded him. And Eliphaz was at that time 13 years old. And Eliphaz rose up and went and took 10 of his mother's brothers with him, and pursued Yaakov. And he closely followed Yaakov, and he lurked for him in the border of the land of Canaan, opposite to the city of Shechem. And Yaakov saw Eliphaz and his men pursuing him, and Yaakov stood still in the place in which he was going in order to know what this was, for he did not know the thing. And Eliphaz drew his sword, and he went on advancing, he and his men, towards Yaakov. And Yaakov said to them, "What is to do with you that you have come hither? And what does it mean that you pursue with your swords?" And Eliphaz came near to Yaakov, and he answered and said unto him, "Thus did my father command me, and now therefore I will not deviate from the orders which my father gave me." And when Yaakov saw Esau had spoken to Eliphaz to employ force, Yaakov then approached and supplicated Eliphaz and his men, saying to him, "Behold, all that I have, and which my father and mother gave unto me, that take unto you, and go from me, and do not slay me, and may this thing be accounted unto righteousness." And Yahuwah caused Yaakov to find favor in the sight of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, and his men, and they hearkened unto the voice of Yaakov, and they did not put him to death. And Eliphaz and his men took all belonging to Yaakov, together with the silver and gold that he had brought with him from Beer Sheva, and they left him nothing. And Eliphaz and his men went away from him, and they returned to Esau to Beer Sheva, and they told him all that had occurred to them with Yaakov, and they gave him all that they had taken from Yaakov. And Esau was indignant at Eliphaz his son, and at his men that were with him, because they had not put Yaakov to death. And they answered and said to Esau, "Because Yaakov supplicated us in this matter, not to slay him, our pity was excited towards him, and we took all belongings to him, and brought it unto you." And Esau took all the silver and gold which Eliphaz had taken from Yaakov, and he put them by in his house. At that time, when Esau saw that Yitzchak had blessed Yaakov, and had commanded him, saying, "You shall not take a woman from amongst the daughters of Canaan," and that the daughters of Canaan were bad in the sight of Yitzchak and Rivkah, then he went to the house of Ishmael, his uncle, and in addition to his other women, he took Maholoth, the daughter of Ishmael, the sister of Nebaioth, for a woman. And Yaakov went forth, continuing his road to Haran, and he came as far as Mount Moriah, and he tarried there all night near the city of Luz. And Yahuwah appeared there unto Yaakov on that night, and he said unto him, "I am Yahuwah Elohim of Abraham, and the Elohim of Yitzchak your father. The land upon which you lie I will give unto you and your seed. And behold, I am with you, and I will guard you wherever you go, and I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and I will cause all your enemies to fall before you. And when they shall make war with you, they shall not prevail over you. And I will bring you again into this land with joy, with children, and with great riches." And Yaakov awoke from his sleep, and he rejoiced greatly at the vision which he had seen. And he called the name of the place Bet-El. And Yaakov rose up from that place quite rejoiced, and when he walked, his feet felt light to him for joy. And he went from there to the land of the children of the east, and he returned to Haran, and he sat by the shepherd's well. And he there found some men going from Haran to feed their flocks. And Yaakov made inquiries of them, and they said, "We are from Haran." And he said unto them, "Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor?" And they said, "We know him. And behold, his daughter Rachel is coming along to feed her father's flock." While he was yet speaking with them, Rachel, the daughter of Laban, came to feed her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. And when Yaakov saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, he ran and kissed her, and lifted up his voice and wept. And Yaakov told Rachel that he was the son of Rivkah, her father's sister. And Rachel ran and told her father. And Yaakov continued to cry because he had nothing with him to bring to the house of Laban. And when Laban heard that his sister's son Yaakov had come, he ran and kissed him and embraced him and brought him into the house and gave him bread, and he ate. And Yaakov related to Laban what his brother Esau had done to him, and what his son Eliphaz had done to him on the road. And Yaakov resided in Laban's house for 1 month, and Yaakov ate and drank in the house of Laban. And afterwards Laban said unto Yaakov, Tell me, what shall be your wages? For how can you serve me for naught? And Laban had no sons, but only daughters, and his other women and handmaids were still barren in those days. And these are the names of Laban's daughters, which his woman Adonah had borne unto him. And the name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Yaakov loved her. And Yaakov said to Laban, I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your daughter. And Laban consented to this. And Yaakov served Laban 7 years for his daughter Rachel. And in the 2nd year of Yaakov's dwelling in Haran, that is, in the 79th year of the life of Yaakov, in that year died Eber, the son of Shem. He was 464 years old at his death. And when Yaakov heard that Eber was dead, he grieved exceedingly, and he lamented and mourned over him many days. And in the 3rd year of Yaakov's dwelling in Haran, Basmath, the daughter of Yismael, the woman of Esau, bore unto him a son, and Esau called his name Reuel. And in the 4th year of Yaakov's residence in the house of Laban, Yahweh visited Laban and remembered him on account of Yaakov, and sons were born unto him. And his firstborn was Beor, his second was Aliv, and the third was Chorash. And the Yahweh gave Laban riches and honor, sons and daughters, and the man increased greatly on account of Yaakov. And Yaakov in those days served Laban in all manner of work in the house and in the field, and the blessing of Yahweh was in all that belonged to Laban, and the house and the field. And in the 50th year died Yehudith, the daughter of Bereer, the woman of Esau, in the land of Canaan, and she had no sons, but daughters only. And these are the names of her daughters which she bore to Esau. The name of the elder was Marzith, and the name of the younger was Pueth. And when Yehudith died, Esau rose up and went to Seir to hunt in the field, as usual, and Esau dwelt in the land of Seir for a long time. And in the 60th year, Esau took for a woman, in addition to his other women, Olavama, the daughter of Tesavan, the Hittite, and Esau brought her to the land of Canaan. And Olavama conceived and bore unto Esau 3 sons, Eush, Yaalan, and Ororach. And in those days, in the land of Canaan, there was a quarrel between the herdsmen of Esau and the herdsmen of the inhabitants of the land of Canaan. For Esau's cattle and goods were too abundant for him to remain in the land of Canaan. In his father's house and in the land of Canaan could not bear him on account of his cattle. And when Esau saw that his quarreling increased with the inhabitants of the land of Canaan, he rose up and took his woman and his sons and his daughters and all belonging to him, and the cattle which he possessed, and all his property that he had acquired in the land of Canaan, and he went away from the inhabitants of the land to the land of Seir, and Esau and all belonging to him dwelt in the land of Seir. But from time to time Esau would go and see his father and mother in the land of Canaan, and Esau intermarried with Chorim, and he gave his daughters to the sons of Seir, the Chori, and he gave his elder daughter Marzith and Anah, the son of Tision, his woman's brother. The Pueth he gave Azar, and the son of Bilhan, and Chorev, and Esau dwelt in the mountain, he and his children, and they were fruitful and multiplied.